Not reflect the views and opinions of our advertisers and management of Pacific Telestations Incorporated. You're watching Buzz with Jess Lujan.
This edition of The Buzz. Very exciting show tonight. I have the superintendent of Department of Education, of course, Jon Fernandez, and the principal of one of my favorite schools, although I didn't graduate from there, but you're one of my favorite high schools. We got Miss Beth Paris, principal of Simone Sanchez. Welcome and good evening.
Good evening.
Jon, let's get right to the right through the chase for this. You've been on board now since officially the second, right?
Almost into 3 weeks.
And 3 weeks, okay. Yeah. So you're able to get your feet wet and toes dirty and all that from the reports that we saw today from Southern High School. Your assessment so far on Department of Education, and can we fix it?
I think so. I mean, first of all, I didn't dip my toe in. I think you had to jump right in for a job like this. And I think going to schools was the right decision for me, so I could get out and start hearing exactly what's going on at the ground level and at the front lines in the classroom. So what I'm learning is very interesting. And I say to the schools, this is not a goodwill tour. It's an introductory tour. But I want to hear what's going on. And what I'm hearing in different schools is really informing me about what's working, what's not working, what I need to be aware of as I start out in this first month on the job.
Now, when you're looking at fixes in DOE in general, again, you're going school by school and seeing what the challenges are, and the challenges and the problem solving for that particular school may not be the same as the next school that you visit. But in totality, when you look at it, is there hope? Because I tell you, I mean, it's just year after year we talk about again SAT scores and dropout rates and things like that, and the state of the fiscal state that our school is in. It's just like you throw your hands up in the air. I mean, I, as one who served in the legislature 3 terms, DOE constantly came to us and asked for money. We constantly gave money, and we're going, wait a minute, you asked for this, we gave you this, and it's still in disarray. What hope can you give us, Mr. Fernandez?
Well, let me tell you, I invited Beth to join me here today because I wanted to just highlight, and I think she's not here just on behalf of her school, but I think on behalf of the principals in the system. Coming in from off island to enter the system, I didn't come here with an assumption that everything's broken. I said I'm hearing what's out there, but I need to figure it out for myself. So what I've done in my conversations is have this discussion, a dialogue with teachers and administrators and students, and I think there is a lot of hope. I think there's a lot. I mean, nobody gets into public education without this intent to try to fix things, to try to help our students and help our children. I think what we need is vision. I think what we need is a path forward, and we need to sustain it, and we need to figure out how we learn and improve on a solid foundation, really focused on children and their achievement. So I think there's a lot there. There's a lot of promising things that I'm seeing. The question is how you bring it together and move in one direction.
And that's always been something I've always asked. Why is it when we talk about DOE, it's always, again, no toilet tissue, none this, broken that. Why? I mean, very little is it what's happening in the classroom, and then what we hear from what's happening in the classroom is again lack of textbooks. They don't have this, they don't have that, and then schools are out because there's no water, there's no electricity, and things like that. So that's what we hear. We know there are a lot of good things happening in the schools, but how again can we concentrate and remove the outside elements and concentrate on that student, and make sure that student, because everything that's starting there and work out.
Well, I say we'll do it school by school, and so and classroom by classroom. So when I go into schools, we have this conversation, and some schools will start out and say, look at our facility, look at our facility needs, or it's hard to get parents engaged in our community, or the supplies and textbooks. And I say, you're right. That's my job to figure out how we can get those issues resolved. Having said that, it may not be fixed tomorrow. It may not be fixed a month from now, or even a year from now, even as hard as we try. So now what? We have an obligation to educate these kids. What are we going to do by that? Should we just walk away and wait till the buildings are fixed? Or can we get together and figure out strategies that continue this mission of educating our kids and giving them the best education that we can, despite all the challenges?
Yeah, and one of the things, again, I really commend you on what you said, and I think is a response to one of the things that happened in your school when the students just pretty much took the bull by the horn, and when you guys were being vandalized and all that, the kids took it upon themselves to go down to work with one of your partner companies, Nico Hotel, I think it is, and they agreed to provide some security, and then they again took it upon themselves to clean the surrounding areas. But then you said, you know, and we constantly say our students are exceeding despite the fact that we really, I mean, we're not providing quite that adequacy for them to have a conducive learning environment. But you're saying, look, that should not be the norm. We should be teaching, and that the norm should be us instructing, and that everything else will come later on. But it shouldn't be the norm that the students are exceeding despite all the challenges.
What I wanted to clarify with Ms. Perry is that, you know, when I made that comment, in no way did it mean that I was not very proud of those students who did that. And they did a lot of things that you say, wow, they really pulled together their resources and are committed. But what I said is, if that is not something I'd like to replicate, because, you know, for instance, we were just talking before the show, they tried to fix the roof.
Yeah.
That is ultimately my job and the job of the department, because it's a big job. And let them focus on being active in the community and being active in the community, not just in their facility, while we take care of the things that we're supposed to take care of.
And the last I heard, not too many of your teachers or faculty or students are roofers by trade.
That's it.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll talk to you when we come back. We'll be right back.
All right, thanks.